Hello everybody and welcome to another vlog. Finley says hi. So today we are gonna do sort of the next show prep on from the last vlog, which was a grooming vlog, and today we're going to be putting Donny in his show tack and preparing for a showing event. Now, full disclosure, I don't actually have any showing events booked in my calendar, but when we show Donny, I'll show you his tack in a moment, he wears a double bridle, and I think having a little play in the double bridle might be quite beneficial to his dressage work, because Donny's, if you've been following us for a long time, Donny's kind of downfalls or like bad bits are he is a little bit on the forehand, he can be a little bit heavy in the hand, and he doesn't like using his back end very much. He likes to become quite heavy and pull me out the saddle. So I think it would be quite beneficial to school him in his double bridle today. And also I thought we would run through some different like little shows you can do. So when you guys do your first, or if you're planning on doing an unaffiliated show, there's a few different little show plans that you can think about and what like which one might benefit your horse the most. So with Finley, we generally do a fairly similar show plan every time. Donny, it's a bit different because he has a ride judge for a lot of the county shows, but you want to make a show that really benefits your horse. So show the good bits, hide the bad bits. So we're going to have a little play through some different show plans. Some will keep quite simple, some will keep a bit more advanced, and he hasn't been in his show tack since September, I think was his last show, maybe October. So I'm not sure how he's going to react to having the double bridle back on, but yeah, I just thought it'd be a really good exercise and we can do a little bit of a tutorial on how to do a ridden show. So this is Donny's show tack. This is a second-hand saddle I bought off Facebook Marketplace, and I think I paid £600 for this saddle. This is the Cavaletti Collection show saddle. It has a changeable gullet. It's very rare to find a show saddle with a changeable gullet. This is in a 17.5 inch, and I just love this saddle. If this is your first time doing county showing this season, things to look out for is make sure that your saddle, your seat and the stirrup leathers are long enough for a ride judge if you're going to have one this season. I also do dressage in my Cavaletti saddle. This is a girth that needs a clean. Not sure which brand it is, but we just have a nice plain leather girth. I'm not using the show numbner today because we are just playing. And then this is Donny's show bridle. This is from Risley Saddlery. I keep all his show tack at home so it stays nice and in good condition and it doesn't go mouldy. Here we go, he's just got a standard bradoon with the Weymouth, and we've got an elastic curb chain and a lip strap. Do not forget the lip strap because you can get eliminated for not wearing one. Then you should have plain reins on the bottom and laced reins on the top. So yeah, that's our show tack. So we're just going to be having a play. I'm going to get my hat and boots on. And where is my steed? Not this one. Don! Oh, Donovan! He says, oh no, mother. Yes, so we're going to have a play with you today. You don't love the double bridle, but you got used to it by the end of last season and you went really well. So it might take a minute, but hopefully he remembers what to do. So this is Donny, my 17-hand, 6-year-old middleweight show hunter, and I'll just go through his strengths and weaknesses because that will kind of help me work on what I need to work on. So Donny has quite a good trot and he has a very good walk. His transitions need work, his canter needs work because it balls on a bit. He struggles to collect. He can be heavy on the forehand, as I said earlier. So yes, I am going to essentially find a show that shows off his good bits and hides his bad bits, but we're also going to do some shows just to play, basically, to see if we can work on his bad bits to make them better. So when you do your ridden show, you need to show a walk, trot, canter on each rein and an extension. Obviously, if you're on a lead rein, or if this is a first ridden class, no, or walk and trot class. This is just your general, most classes, walk, trot, canter on each rein and an extension, which is like a bit of a gallop. I don't know how much extending we're going to do today, because in a 20x40 it is quite hard to practice a gallop on a horse this size, but we might just do some extending and collecting off the paces, which again is beneficial to him. So yeah, we're going to get him tacked up. So before you think about your ridden show, I just want you to say out loud to yourself, what are your pony's best bits? Also, something to practice which people often forget about is standing. In the show ring, you have to stand for a long time, and manners maketh the man. So standing is something we practiced quite a lot of with Finley when we practiced for London International, just making him stand and wait a minute before we went off and did our show, because he got a bit antsy. He thought Finley's very quick thinking. We will practice it with Donny, but Donny is very good at just standing still and going to sleep. Look at him. So yeah, that's just another thing to take into account when doing your show and practicing at home. Silly. You're silly. It smells different. When he's finished. Hey? Yeah. He's still doing it. It's because it smells of my house, I think. You done? Feels like a what? Donation. It's going in my mouth. Yeah, the double bridle. You've got to be a show pony again. It's like, no, I like dressage, thank you. So we're now in the school. Another thing that I just thought of is something that, I mean, I don't need to practice so much with Donny, but it's something, again, I practice with Finley. When you get to your show, you're not going to be getting on off your normal mountain block. You might be getting a leg up from your mum or your dad. You might be using a step or a stool. And if you're at a county show, you will be required to get off your horse and strip. So you take the tack off and you trot the horse up and down. So your horse needs to be very well mannered for getting on and off. So if your horse maybe is a little bit jittery, doesn't like to stand still, doesn't like blocks, that's another thing to practice before you get on your horse. So the first thing the judge notices when you come into the ring is your walk. So walking like this, uninterested, hands down, saggy back, Isn't really going to do yourself lots of favours. So as soon as you walk in the ring, you want to make sure you pick your hands up out your pants, get your walking forward, you're smiling, you're sitting up tall, and you look like you want to be there, you're having fun, and you're walking with a purpose, not just dilly-dallying. You're walking around in the group with all the other competitors, and the steward shouts very loudly and asks you to go forward to trot. What the judge is looking for is a nice, clean transition where your trot goes forward and you're not kicking and flapping. So I'll pop into trot now and show you a nice, clean transition. We'll do that once more. So we're going to do a nice, clean transition. Good boy. And we're done. Good. And now I'm going to show you a bad transition. A bad transition. All the things make a difference. Even when you think the judge isn't watching you, they might be, and so might the steward. Away from them. So you walk, trot and canter in a group and do your extension, which you do in a group, but one at a time. You'll be asked by the steward to go forward and have a bit of an extension. We've had our little warm up, but now we're going to have a little play at some shows. And the first thing I want Donny to do in a moment is we're going to come round, we're going to stand still, we're going to make him stand and wait in front of the camera. Not do all this snatchy bridle thing he's doing at the minute. He's got to stand square, he's got to stand straight. And then we're going to run through our normal show, which is a trot figure of 8. And then we pick up canter, we canter down alongside, we change around, we canter down alongside. we'll show you our normal show. Then we're going to have a play at some different shows and what works for Donny. So I thought I'd do a little voiceover of this show. So the first thing I'd say is he's very mannerly. He holds himself quite nicely, but I think the trot needs a little bit more engagement behind. It's a nice rhythm. It doesn't need to go faster. I'd just like to see it a bit more active, if that makes sense. That was a nice smooth bend. He's staying consistent in the contact, but yeah, I'd just like to see him a little bit more forward. That was not a bad left canter transition. Again, it's similar with the canter. It needs more oomph, but not faster. And I think because it's a little bit slow, it makes him look a little bit unbalanced. So a little bit more power needed. Not a bad downwards transition. And that was quite a good transition on the right. Well, especially because I know Donny, and that is quite a good transition for him. The canter actually, I think, looks stronger on the right today. He just broke a little bit there, which is a shame. There, yeah. And that's where I would extend, but obviously there just isn't room really in here. This is a lovely downward and a lovely smooth walk transition, and not a bad halt to finish. So this is my second little show plan, and can we just take a minute, because I think that's actually the sunshine. I don't usually complain, but was it maybe too bright today? So this time I thought I'd do something different and do a trot 3-loop serpentine. This is quite good for him because I can kind of like slow him down a bit with the bends. I would say he's a little less consistent in the contact. You can kind of see he's up and down a little bit. What am I going to do now? A nice canter transition. Yeah, I thought that canter transition was really good. This is quite a nice rhythm. He actually looks better in the canter than he did in the first show. Okay, and now I'm going to do a bit of a change of rein and canter on the right. And that was a very good right transition. Yeah, and a nice rhythm. I quite like this show. It was kind of short and sweet, but I just don't think the 3-loop serpentine does him any favours because he's not that balanced. But maybe if it was a much bigger arena, it would work. Always finish with a nice walk before halting, and I quite like that. So the first thing I'd say is the walk needs more purpose. It's a little bit too lazy. Okay, let's see a trot. Not the quickest transition off the leg. But not a bad trot rhythm now I've got going. I just feel like it's taken a little while to get going. Okay, straight into left lead canter. That was a really good canter transitions. He's just a bit unbalanced, I'd say. I just need a bit more lift and sit. However, that was really good, and I would definitely like to use that in my show. His right lead canter actually seems stronger today, which is strange because that's his worst rein. And here I would extend. I'm just letting him ball on a little bit, but you can see he gets a little bit deep when I let him sort of canter on a bit. I like the canter trot canter change in this. I just didn't like the start of the show, so I'd probably try and use that. Just not the start of the show. I'll try and think of something else. And I'm just... yeah, I don't know why I didn't stand square either. I don't like the halt to finish. That was a bit scruffy. So this one's starting off strong with a really nice walk. Forward into trot. It's smooth. He's a little bit overbent. And I'd like to see him sort of lift and sit. But a really nice canter transition. He's just a little bit inconsistent in the actual canter, but the canter seems stronger than what it did in the first few shows. Okay, and here I was going to try canter to walk and then a left canter. Yeah, that wasn't bad, but I actually had in my head to go canter, walk, canter, and there was a few trot strides, but that wasn't bad at all. I definitely think that sort of transition across the middle of the school works quite well for him. And yeah, not a bad trot, a bit more active. A nice forward walk to finish. And yeah, not the best halt, but yeah. So once we'd run through a few shows, I felt like he was getting a little bit behind the vertical, a little bit tanky with me, and just sort of trying to pull me out the saddle. So this is just a little exercise I do to just try and get him to sit and slow down. So we're doing a sort of steady collected trot, and then I ask him to leg yield across down the long side, so he's steady, he's bending around my leg, and then once I hit the track and get to the corner, I ask for the right lead canter. We canter a few strides and then I bring him back, and this way he can't tank off with me. And by doing the collected trot circles first, he's having to sit on his bottom, and here I just ask him to come back to walk because I felt like he was starting to pull. Lots of transitions is key. So this is just a little exercise I wanted to finish on because this is how he kind of felt, and I wanted to fix it before we finish the session. So I'm just asking him to slow down, not pull, and then leg yield across from my inside leg there, and just lifting him up whenever he bobs his head down a little bit too much, and then canter, and then whoa. And this is a really good exercise for him. Anything sort of leg yield, shoulder innie and circles, I can just get him like around my leg, and then he can't sort of pull through the bridle as much when he's bending, if that makes sense. So here I am just having a little walk, and then we're going to do the same exercise on this rein. So yeah, this is just something that I thought I needed to do to finish, so that he doesn't think he can go like that. I don't want him to think that he can just go round and pull me around and pull me out the saddle. So again, we're just leg yielding over. And then once we get to the corner, we're going to ask for canter. A little bit of a delayed reaction. We do a few strides of nice canter.
That's a lovely canter.
And then I think I decided to ride a circle because the canter felt so lovely. And he had stopped pulling me as much. There. And then down and down to walk. And a long rein.
Such a good boy. So today, Donny was quite forward going. He isn't usually like that, but he gave me a few lazy transitions into canter, and I tapped him up, and then he turned into rocket mode. Obviously, when you go to a show, you prepare as much as you can, but you don't know what you're going to get on the day. So when you're riding your show, and if it doesn't go to plan, don't feel like you've got to stick to that exact show. You've got to go with what you feel on the day. So if Donny felt a bit tanky, I'd probably try and make my show quite simple. If I had to add in a trot circle to get him to slow down, fine. Just even if something happens that is not supposed to happen, do it on the other rein, make it look like it was supposed to happen. If you've got a horse that's quite lazy on the day, again, you might think about keeping your show extra short and sweet, doing your transitions away from the judge where it's not right in front of them. There's just little tips and tricks like that really, but riding to what you can feel on the day. Usually Donny is not that forward going, but today he was. We didn't really get to practice any gallop today, but I did let him sort of extend his paces a little bit down the long side. He's just a big horse, and because he was a bit gun-ho today, I didn't want to encourage it. I wanted to get him back and teach him that he's not to pull me out of the saddle and not to go gunning off. Yeah, and there's no reason if you go to a show, most of the times I go, I'll enter one class, do my class, and then I'll do some schooling after and just use it as like a schooling, because at the end of the day, the idea of me competing and I just want to be better. So I'm not going up to get the rosettes. It's just a rosette. You'll forget about it in a year. It's all about progress. So yeah, he's quite sweaty today. So am I. Workout for us both, but that was good because I can't remember the last time we've really practiced a show. It wasn't our best because we haven't done it, you know, in a long time. Come on, good boy. And now I know we have quite a lot to work on. Actually, yeah, we're not as close as what I thought, but definitely improvement from last year. So yeah, if you've got a show maybe next month, I would say practice once or twice a week in your show tack and prepare yourself. So thank you so much for watching today's vlog. Hopefully we did one half decent show, but it definitely was not our best today. And even if you go to a show and it all goes wrong, always remember you take the best horse home. It's winter, we've been practicing, we've both been working hard. I am very proud of him because all we've been doing is sort of dressage and flat work, nothing too much. And I've asked quite a lot of him today, and he's been a very, very super good boy. We're very sweaty and itchy, but yeah, hopefully this vlog is useful and you might find something to learn from it in today's video. So don't forget to like, comment, any questions you've got, and subscribe. And I'll see you all next week. Bye.